in order. Until black men put their sons in check and take back the streets. That's one of the major things we got to do. Black men, where are you? We can make this a 1,000-man movement right off the back. You got sisters, you got brothers, you got young men sitting home not doing nothing, vegetating, or the ones that want to say, wait a minute, you know, what's my purpose in life? What's next? You go into church, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not being satisfied. I'm not being fed. My mind is telling me what's more, that there's more. You have people with health issues, with depression and so forth. That's God sending you a message, the Creator sending you a message saying you're not developing yourself. You're not using your brain. You got to increase in Alzheimer's and mental illness because you're not using your brain. The brain is a muscle. It has to be exercised. And knowledge is a beautiful thing. And we're so judgmental. We ain't got time to be judgmental. And always pulling down other people. I'm looking at YouTube. They complaining, fighting back and forth and arguing. What is that about? We don't have time for that. That is total nonsense. We should be building each other up. And your focus, if you building yourself up, you ain't got time to complain about somebody else or hate on what they're doing. You don't have time for that. And we put this out and so forth like that. You know, blacks people, my brothers and sisters. Anytime I tell people, oh, you know, I'm doing something for black people, trying to do this or that, try to get us organized, they always say, good luck. Good luck with that. We are our own worst enemies. We can't even see it. We have been so destroyed, we don't even speak to each other when we walk on the street. What's that about? We don't even realize that another God has just walked by us. A living God has just walked by us. We're really screwed up. Another superhero just crossed my path. We don't even recognize that. And then we when brothers do take the time to greet each other, they say, what's happening? That's deep. What is happening? We don't know what's happening. It's like an atomic bomb blasted, and the ones that are close to it gets obliterated, but then the shock wave permeates throughout. That's what these law of the land and these Jim Crow laws and the rule of law and law and order type policies have put us in a state of shock. We're stunned. We're walking around stunned, glazed, and don't know what's going on. And can't shake it off. Can't shake it off. We've been terrorized. The reason they continue to do these police shootings, shooting our children down in the back, is because they want to keep you distracted in that state of PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder. So you can't think clearly. That you realize that, wait a minute, we are in charge here. Without us, they wouldn't have anything. Then they bring other individuals in to marginalize us, to take advantage of what our ancestors have fought for and what we continue to fight for. But we still don't get it. We just want to move out the neighborhood. Oh, I'm the only black in this neighborhood. I'm cool now. Then they burn crosses on your land and spray paint graffiti, hate graffiti on your garages and your property and so forth. Instead of improving the condition where you are and trying to be a blessing to your brothers and sisters so that we can be a blessing to one another. We're going to be held responsible for that. Especially since you know. Can't say you don't know. All right. When we deal with the, we have to take a gradual, step-by-step approach to dealing with these issues that face us. And the first thing you do is get your house in order, get your mind in order, get the proper knowledge. Right knowledge. But then you have to take action. You have to take action. We have to understand that this criminal justice system, the civil court system, they're not our friend. They're not our friend. And the first thing we need to do, we need to draw the system. We need to make sure our sons and daughters and husbands and wives don't enter into the system. And we do that by educating ourselves and creating an economic foundation. So Earn While You Learn program. First we learn, then we can earn. So instead of paying a prepaid legal system every month, precious resources leaving our community to get you out of trouble once you get into trouble, use that same amount of money to educate yourself so you never get out of trouble. You can be a blessing to help somebody else. We're doing stuff backwards. And especially in the mindset where somebody's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. Nobody's going to come out of the sky and save us. We have to save ourselves. We have to be on the same page. It's like the end of slavery. We were on the same page. Brothers that were freed fought to slave their brothers that were enslaved. And only 1/3 of the black population was enslaved at that time. Not all of them. But they tried to pass the Jim Crow laws, let them out of the plantation, trying to make the whole country a plantation. But all of us in the same boat. I listen to white programming, these white supremacist channels and stuff. They talking about the same thing we talking about. They just don't mention us. The same pains we feel, they feel it. Because they being squeezed like everybody else. We used to being squeezed. So let's talk about briefly, and then hopefully, because I know you guys watch this video afterwards. You know, you don't want to pop up there and show yourself, put your name on it. It's such a potent discussion. You know, we gotta quit being scary. Gotta quit being scary. You know, your life and your children. You have children. You got grandchildren. We can't leave them into a situation like this because our grandparents fought for legislation. People put their lives on. How many people died during that civil rights movement and struggle? Then you have a generation that went to sleep because now they let you buy homes and then you have a car. Now you got a 2-car garage and homes and you're living good and you think everything's okay. So you went to sleep. But you don't care about the brothers and sisters that got left behind. Or that your son or daughter can be shot down at any moment. Then all of a sudden you want support. Let's stop being reactive. Let's start being proactive. And let's talk quickly about, first of all, you can't calculate the reparations because and redress the harm that's been done. Because it's so devastating. Plus the dollar amount is so extraordinary that they can't really pay it. So what we need to understand, I'm not saying that they're not going to pay it, right? But just understand what it should do is you should develop a mindset of ownership. This is my country just as much as theirs. Not only do you owe us, and we talking about business, a lot of brothers and sisters get on there now on the internet talking about slavery was not about race, it was about economics, it was about business. That's right, it's about business. So let's be about business. Where's the money? You owe us money, plus interest, the legal rate of interest, you charge 10%. So we calculate from the time that the first slave, he came here and generating revenue for 400 years, GMP each year, and then hit 10% interest on there, they couldn't pay it. And plus the fact that this is our land, indigenous land, that they invaded. Just like in South Africa, they came here and took it over. So we should have a sense of ownership. We're walking around with our heads bent, heads down, praying for relief. We have to make our own relief. If it wasn't for us with our inventions, this would not only be a boring country, it'd be a third world country. But we're not talking about marching and being angry, nothing like that. Develop your minds. Develop your minds and start acting different. Start thinking differently. That's what Boardwalk School of Economics is all about. Train yourself, train your children. We have a rich academic program. They're not going to teach you this in college. So like I said before, no matter what your profession, you need to take this course. This is a continuing education program. Like I mentioned before, as an attorney, I have to take continuing education all the time to stay on top of the law and the changes in the law. But once a person get out of high school, that's it. You might want to take a college class here or there, but most people don't do anything. And even if you go to colleges and stuff like that, they directing you into an area where you have to serve someone else instead of serving yourself. This is a program in personal growth and development. 10% of your time. If you work 40 hours a week, you can take 4 hours and invest in your own study, self-development. You know, your tithes in the church and stuff, you're tithe, take a portion of that and invest in your own personal growth and development. Get something back. Fair exchange is not robbery. And you volunteering time there, you know, for somebody who don't really care for your best interest. They just trying to see how many tithers they have and how many offerings they get. We're talking about prayer warriors. Help these children to read. Get off your knees and help these children to read and write. If you're in a particular community, you got a church and so forth, you don't need money to go out there and knock on doors. And you can use this program to evangelize the community. Start being a blessing to the community. Because the next stage of development is to go through the community and set up temples of inner peace and prosperity, where not only we deal with the spiritual enlightenment of the individual, but we deal with economics as well. So we care for the well-being of our community members, our children, so they can read, write, so they can think. And making sure that we have businesses and opportunities available so when our children graduate high school, they can find a meaningful employment that's competitive. These things are easy to do. And it's a journey. It can be a fun journey, right? So, in a lot of discussion, we're not going to have it. We'll have it, within our membership forums. You can't talk about too much out here like this. So I'm just trying to fire you up. Hopefully you can be fired up. That flicker that's in your heart. I need to get it to be a torch, a raging flame that will inspire you and motivate you to do what's required to make a change. And by coming together, your little problems that you have and so forth will go away, because unity is power. Powerthrough-unity.org, right? And we have a legal department, once members come, that can develop, that can address these issues. Not only reparations, but there's this corrupt organization called the criminal justice system, right? Need to bring a RICO Act against them, Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization Act, because you have the courts, you have the police, you got the prisons. They all conspire with one another. And when you see the 13th Amendment, they admitted it. They admitted that they intentionally destroyed our communities. They intentionally did it. They admit it. So when you got your head in the sand, your butt is exposed. Not only your butt exposed, then you got sand in your eyes. You can't see clearly. You need to meditate on this. Said a prayer in the beginning. Meditate. And that's why the sweet spot you see on the newsletter I'm trying to get is before 13, because if you don't train them right at 13, they kind of like out of control. Even though they grow and mature and stuff like that, you gotta take control of the situation. Especially our black men, we need to take control of our communities, and we need to control. See, our children should go to school to be able to socialize and get along with each other. They should come to learn. But at home,